Hey there, how you guys doing? It's been a long time since I've made a video, and I apologize for that. I've started me a business, plus I'm working my regular full-time job. So basically I'm working 6 days a week. I've really not had time to do anything. And I love making these videos, but I just haven't had time. I decided to do a walkabout today, and let you guys know that I've got some news coming on as far as direction of the channel, and some things I'll be doing later on. Sorry about that, I was interrupted. So basically, I got a little bit of news for the channel, and I'll go over that later on. Meanwhile, we're going to walk about and just things that catch my attention. No particular history I've not studied. Anything I've tried to study has turned out to be not much interest in it. But anyway, let's look around. Okay, a World War I veteran, Clarence Harris, South Carolina PFC Battery A of the 5th Field Artillery, World War I. Now, something to pay attention to. Born in 1902. Now, he died in 1951, well after the war. Born in 1902, and he was in World War I. World War I ended in 1918. He would have been 16 years old when it ended. I wonder how old he was when he went in. I've not done a search or anything looking for the history to see if there's anything that would be I could add to this. There might be something out there. But just caught my attention. When the war ended, he was 16. He was in World War I. By the way, a very, very brutal war. This one has had my attention for a little while, and I did try to look some stuff up. Nothing real exciting, but just the plot. It's the only one in the cemetery that's like this. It's got these pebbles with columns. And I'll show you some details. I'm not sure that you can see it without me bringing this in a lot closer. There's a piece of metal here. It possibly, this held either a rope or a chain that went down this way and then back this way as more of a kind of a border to go along with this pebble wall is what I'm going to call it. W.A.W. stands for Wesley A. Weathers, and he's a gentleman that's buried here in this plot. I think he's the main person here. He's the father and the father-in-law. He's buried here in this plot that I was telling you about. It's got the pebble wall. Also something to notice, if I can get you over here. Yeah, this is working out. Used to be a little pond here. Now, the guy that runs the cemetery told me that at one time they had irrigation out here, but that it was causing, because there's a lot of iron in this water, it was causing rust to build up on the tombstone, so they quit the irrigation. Now, they do have spigots from here, you know, along the line. You can hook a water hose up if you want to water something, but this little fish pond or just water feature, they had to do away with. This is the main guy that's buried here. I mean, there's family buried here too, though. Wesley A. Weathers, who was born in 1854, who died in 1923, and his wife Winifred Harley, who was born in 1851, and she died in 1918. Now, I was able to find out that he died from kidney disease. And apparently run in the family, because I seen where a daughter of his that's also buried here also died from kidney disease. This is Mr. Weatherly's son-in-law, Coral W. Harvey, who was born in 1881 and died in 1966. Now, Mr. Weatherly, according to census reports, what I have found so far, let me turn this for you a little bit, is that he was a farmer sometimes and a contractor at other times. The Harvey family, that would be his son-in-law's family, I know they were fairly wealthy at one time. There's a street in town named after the Harveys. And I'm wondering if possibly that was the money that was used to build this wall here. That could have been Mr. Weatherly's money. We don't know. I don't know how wealthy he was. I don't know where he lived at to go find out what kind of house he lived in. It's pretty neat because they got entrance that goes from side, I don't know if you can see it, to side with a sidewalk. And then the main entrance here also has sidewalk that comes to this side-to-side sidewalk. Something that sort of got my attention, I'm going to walk around. Y'all don't be dismayed by all the flowers, and someone might think it's kind of unkept. The person who's supposed to be keeping that up is supposed to be coming by today to take care of it. This, you know, you can't do but so much. So here's something that got my attention. The stone is blocking the entrance, and the sidewalk stops over there. I'm just going to say this stone was put up after the fact, but sure enough, the stone almost blocks the entrance right here. And that's it for the Weatherly family. And I'm going to look around, and I know something I want to show you, so I'm going to walk over here to it. And like I said, oh, look at all them ducks. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. There's a bunch of geese over here. Let me see if I can flip this around. Just on the road. Can y'all see that? The screen won't get any bigger. I don't know, there's about 10 geese over there. But anyway, there's going to be some changes coming to this channel. When I have time, I want to concentrate more on doing my cemetery videos. Like I said, I don't have much time. There's some more geese over here too. Look at there. Can y'all see that? I don't know if y'all can see that or not. All I see is glare on this phone. I tape from I record on my cell phone. Where am I at? This here. Anybody ever hear of Williams-Brice Stadium? University of South Carolina football stadium? This is them. This is where they're buried at. I've done a video on these two. Their lives, their wealth. Very wealthy people. If I remember correctly, they donated, I almost don't want to say because I'm pretty sure I'll get it wrong, a substantial amount of money to have the stadium built back in the 1970s. And then it's just been built on ever since then. The money that they donated now would seem insignificant, but back then it was a pretty big deal. This is the grave of Joseph A. Nettles. He was a Confederate soldier, Company F of the 9th South Carolina Infantry, Confederate States of America. He was born in 1843, died in 1923. He lived to be a ripe old age of 80. That's pretty good. Died in 1923. Now, I was in the Army. I was in the military. I was in the infantry, as a matter of fact. I am a veteran. I'm a proud veteran. First sergeant. Now, when I went in the military, most of the NCOs, that'd be sergeants and above, were Vietnam veterans, because I joined just a few years after Vietnam. And I have to say, first sergeants, they were the people I had a ton of respect for, because I have various reasons. For one thing, they just seemed really tough. Obviously, every one of them had been in Vietnam. They knew how to rouse the troops. They knew how to handle young officers who, little smart aleck kids just coming out of college that thought they knew some stuff. And he knew how to put them, they knew how to put them in their place. I remember a first sergeant who was from Bronx, New York. This is when I was stationed in Korea. And he had scars on his side from when a grenade got thrown, and it was beside where he was at, so it kind of blew out his side a little bit. He was a huge man. When I say huge, I don't mean fat. I mean tall, very, very muscular guy. And we used to get in barracks fights and fights in the bars and stuff like that. And he would get called to come get everybody out of jail. Now, thankfully, they never arrested me. I never got arrested when I was in the military, and so he never had to come get me out of jail. But you didn't want your first sergeant getting called to come pick yourself out of jail. The brig, as they call it. And one time he has all in formation, and he said, "Boys," he said, "y'all got to behave yourself. I'm tired of getting woke up in the morning." He said, "One of those people start fooling with you," he said, "you back up. And you back up some more, and you keep backing up till you get around a corner. Then you beat the crap out of them, but don't do it where you'll get arrested." I don't know. It's something I remember. It was funny. Do you see them? Geese. I come to the cemetery often. I don't think I've ever seen geese here. John K. Croswell. 1870 to 1929. Mr. Croswell, when he died, had a farm almost downtown now, and he wanted it turned into an orphanage. And now, he used words that couldn't be used now, and of course the government had to change his will that he had in his will as how it's supposed to be used. He wanted for orphans and half orphans. That'd be those who lost one parent, not both. And they had to be white. And there's the kicker. You know, later on, the federal government said, no, that's not going to stand. But that was like 50 years after he died. But Mr. Croswell, many people have been raised in his orphanage. There's 4 cottages, if I remember correctly, that hold several people. They have a real nice dining area. I know because I used to do some work there, and a lot of churches help out and with just different things. And but Mr. Croswell, he's the one. And it seems to me like he had a farm out in the county too that was supposed to help finance the farm, what I call in town. Mr. Croswell. Little John, wasn't that one of Robin Hood's people? Ray Hamilton Bland, from 1919 to 1935. He died at the age of 14 years old. Took a flight, his first flight, a private plane up, and about 250 feet up, it nosedived into the ground, killed him, his very first ride, and killed the pilot. I actually made a video about that with more details. It doesn't look all that clean now, but I actually cleaned this up some. It looks far better than it did. This is the tomb of Selma Nash. She was a young lady that died in 1908. Her father was wealthy. He had died just a few years earlier. I think she died from tuberculosis at a sanitarium in North Carolina is what I think. A young lady, I do have a video of this. That's her dad there, B.R. Nash. Like I said, very wealthy, very instrumental in the building of the First Baptist Church in downtown. As a matter of fact, there used to be a cemetery there, and it's a parking lot now, but they left 4 or 5 tombstones in place. Now, he's buried here, but they left a memorial to him there also in that little burial spot. The China family, a very wealthy family back in the early 1900s. Very impressive stones here. They're not cheap. They weren't cheap then, and they certainly aren't cheap now. Of interest, any local historians will recognize this. This is Archie China, medical doctor, 1864 to 1924. Killed by his wife. Apparently she thought, and I don't know if it's true or not, that he was messing around with a nurse at the hospital. Hospital he helped found, actually. His family's money helped to get going. Now, according to news reports, she shot him twice. She had a gun hidden in a shed of the next door neighbor, and she went and got that. And this is after he had locked her out, I guess, either, you know, she was probably fussing at him and arguing, whatever. And it was winter time. And yeah, because he died in January. She locked him out of the house. No, I'm sorry, he locked her out of the house. She wasn't having that. So she went and got the gun from a neighbor's shed that apparently she had hidden, and killed him, shot him in the bedroom. One of the shots was straight through the head. So I'm thinking he was either asleep. No, because he was found in the bathroom. He might have been on his knees begging for his life, and she just shot down through his head. I don't know. That's probably a little more details than most of y'all want to know. You know, the odd thing is she died a week later. She sure did. Died of pneumonia a week later. And they buried him with her, which I thought was kind of odd. It didn't last long. They ended up digging her up. I'm sure the family didn't want her there. And they moved her here instead. Her name is Louise C. China, you know, her married name. And January 11th, 1924 is when she died of pneumonia. She said she didn't remember anything. The doctors said that that's, they had a name for that, but that, you know, she just didn't remember anything. And they're like, no, she remembers. She's just not telling it. Here I am at the tombstone of Caleb Hatfield. Caleb P. Hatfield, to be more precise. And he lived to be a ripe old age. This stone here is one that I cleaned up, and it was in terrible shape. It was almost black, so it looks a lot better than it did. What I do from time to time is, it's been a long time though, is I like to tell the story while I'm cleaning it. It's out of respect, kind of to honor them in some form or other. There's usually a reason why I do it. So Mr. Hatfield, 1847 to 1931. Now, he died in an old soldier's home, old Confederate soldier's home. And from my research, you weren't putting those homes if you had money. That was for the person who was utterly impoverished and had nowhere else to be, nowhere else to go, no family to take care of them. I did see he had some family. They're not buried here. I think they're in the upstate somewhere, if I remember correctly, because I did do the research on this gentleman. But yeah, Mr. Hatfield, with a good clean stone and a flag honoring his service. Hey, you know what they say about cemeteries, right? People are dying to get in. That was cheesy, I admit it. Here's another one that's definitely noteworthy. I'm gonna read this to you. It says, in memory of our dead comrade, Joseph Levon, the village barber, died 1905, and it says, this stone is erected by his white friends as a tribute to his worth. The reason why it's worded like that is because Mr. Joseph Levon was an ex-slave. But he was dearly loved by the community, and he opened a barber shop. And he had went off to war helping an officer. He was like the butler or whatever, the attendant to him. They did that back then. And a lot of those people, slaves that went like that, they loved their master, if you'll pardon the use of the word. They loved him. And the master loved them too. So when the war was over, he got financed to become a barber. He may have already been a barber up till then. Had him a place downtown, a building where he had a barber shop. When he died, immediately, as I see in the newspaper articles, immediately the call went out to raise money to get him a nice tombstone. So he was very well thought of. I think that speaks, you know, of all the people that are buried, nobody knows who they are, whether they're black or white. It speaks well, especially back in then times, when someone would reach across like that and say, let's take care of this man. This young lady died young, I guess you could say. Guess you'd call that a double entendre? I'm not sure. Anyway, 1883 to 1899. So she was a young lady when she died. I never could find out what she died from, but I did look up newspaper clippings, and I know that at the school she went to, that she sang a lot, so she apparently could sing. This is all Christian symbology, symbolism, and loving, obedient, and true. And she was a young black lady that was apparently well thought of. Oh, her name was Sarah Rebecca J. Rowe. Sarah Rebecca J. Rowe. And I really couldn't find much information on her, to be honest with you. Other newspaper clippings that showed her singing with her high school music choir, you know, and such. This is pretty neat. Like a chain, holding up a sturdy piece of board for a seat. I think that's going to wrap it up, unless I, oh, I did say there'd be some channel news. That's right, that's right. So I started this channel doing cemetery stuff. Then I split it off into doing religious stuff too, and one or two little political things, but I don't like doing politics on this channel. I have a lot of my subscribers that came from the came for the religious stuff, primarily the Catholic stuff, to be honest with you. And I appreciate those subscribers. I'm about to lose them though. I'm splitting the channel up, and by that I'm keeping all the videos that are there, but I have what I call a trash political channel. It's just where I go and vent. It's stuff I didn't want on this channel. If I want to lose subscribers, I don't want to lose it over politics. Politics is dirty, it's filthy. I hate politics, yet it's what rules our lives. So my other channel, I'm turning it into a religious channel. It's going to be called Bible Bits and Bobs by Dave. Sounds pretty good. Anyway, what I have in mind is just small, short little clips, little things about the Bible, little epiphanies, just, I don't know, just all kind of different things. Not much like an in-depth study. I don't know, that might happen on occasion, but it's mainly going to be that. I'm going to have a link to that below. There's not going to be much religious stuff on it now because I'm just getting started. I'm going to leave the political stuff up, but from here on it's going to be religious stuff. Just all kind of different stuff. Now, I said I'd probably lose some Catholic friends. Not friends, but subscribers. And the reason why is because I quit being Catholic. Now, before my anti-Catholic friends rejoice, it has nothing to do with the Catholic Church as to why I left. I grew up Pentecostal. And I just missed some of the Pentecostal things. I missed the freedom of worship. Nothing against the Catholic Church. You won't hear me badmouth it, no more than any other church. And but yeah, so I've stepped away from the Catholic Church, going Pentecostal. Now my channel's not going to be all Pentecostal stuff. It'll probably have a Pentecostal flavor, but no, it's not going to be just like, you know, Holy Ghost filled Dave out there, you know, banging you guys, you know, with information of that particular nature. So I appreciate the subscribers I've had so far. I'm not making no money on this channel, so I really don't care if I lose subscribers. Not for that reason anyway. And we'll just see how Bible Bits and Bobs by Dave does. Y'all have a good day, and God bless every one of you.